Alright guys, continuing on with this carb adapter pad that I'm working on for the V series blower. This is part 3 now, and you can see here some scrap metal from my junk pile. It's a 3mm alloy plate, or 1/8 of an inch you can say, and I'm just prepping it, a bit of a addition to that carb pad. I'm just going to use this as a bit of a support base underneath it all, and I'll explain that a little during the video itself.
It lines up pretty well, and now we can work on the cutout. So as I mentioned before, the point of this alloy plate base that I want to incorporate here is just for it to give it a firm plant on that adapter, and I don't want all the stresses and that solely relying just on this plastic heat insulator material. So I just want that just as a bit of a support protection barrier, so when everything gets clamped down, that can sort of take the load and the stresses off this bit. Last thing I want is just to rely on that and tighten things up well, and then for this thing to just bust and crack. So yeah, and I might run some automotive silicone and get that thing bonded with some weight on top and let it set and cure, and then yeah, that'll just be permanently fixed together with the cutout there.
It'll actually be good to run one more plate on the top side of it as well, with the plastic bit being sandwiched in the middle, and that way it'll just have all the strength and support it needs.
It'll just take the load of it all, and when I do that cutout for the carb with the permanent studs through, those studs will be the countered chamfered style that'll run through the back of that alloy plate, be all Loctited in permanently, and that plate will just be as one piece with whatever spacer or whatever you're going to run. Yeah, looks pretty cool. What do you think? I think that was a good idea, a bit of an addition to have that alloy plate as the base. Looks pretty cool getting there. Yeah, so with this piece, I've actually scored 2 of these adapters. So with this one, I'm going to go the 4150 size. There's not much difference in the mounting positions. They're a little off, 4500 and 4150. But with this adapter, I'll do a 4150. 4500 is not much difference. I mean, obviously it's got a larger opening, but even the bolt holes, as I mentioned previously, I would still need to offset this carb just to clear the mounting pad provisions. So I'll be using countersunk permanent studs underneath that lot that'll go through that metal base plate. So yeah, I'll still need to, regardless which carb I choose, I'll still need to offset it like this. So the carb would still need to be clocked over a little, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind that look. It's a little different. It looks pretty badass, to be honest, and I like that type of stuff. Yeah, so what I mean is I'll use like a counter head sunk type of bolt that'll permanently be fixed. So it'll go through there, it'll be counter sunk just to clear the flatness of that. So it'll slightly be in by about, say, 1 millimeter. And that'll just, if you get what I mean, it'll just sort of sit like that. It'll sit in there, and I'll get the appropriate size. It's not that. So I've got the gasket perfectly offset in there, and I've got it sandwiched in between my little plastic adapter, and I'll just mark it while everything's in place. Everything's in the right. Use double-sided tape to keep the gasket on there, as you can see, and plus I marked it just in case that sort of undid itself or didn't work. I'll just trace that a little better. Well, that's perfectly spaced. That's how it's going to be offset, and we can start working on cutting out the hole and using permanent countersunk head carb bolts that are gonna go through underneath, poke out the other end. So I can go ahead and drill out the carb stud mounts now and the actual 4150 cutout. And that's just it there. I'll go ahead and do that now, and I'll do it on that plate as well, and we're good to go. Okay, that's all cut out, and there's the carb mounts. Let's just put a couple of locators here. So there's the 4 carb mounts. Let's confirm with this gasket. Yep, looks pretty spot on. And that's it, guys. I'll just neaten up the edges, obviously. Either file or sand, or just port out these edges here, just so it's just a touch over past the gasket. You don't want it too close. And voila. So you get my jizz. Now, I'm just going to replicate that again on this plate, just upside down, just to give you a visual. Get rid of this gasket. And there you go. Freaking badass. That's good to me. You know, 4150 flange pattern, opening, you know, you can run you know, up to 950 CFM carbs on this, and even bigger nowadays. So plenty of airflow, you know, for a nice mild to, you know, to strong blown combination.
Alloy plate will just act as more of a surface area support all the way to the opening.
Okay, so that base plate all cut out now. Let's sit that on there. And you know, I'm still yet to deburr everything and neaten everything up around the edges and that. There's the carb gasket, perfectly lines up. Let's put the insulator pad adapter back on. Let's see how everything lines up. We'll put on these bolt down locator holes. It's looking good. That's it. Yeah. That's pretty good, guys. What do you think? Pretty badass. Like I said, I'm just going to neaten everything up. You know, all the edges, I'll get everything matched up a bit better than what it is. Obviously everything's hand cut, hand drawn, hand cut, old school, limited you know, type of tools, you know, just your normal garage tools and stuff like that, nothing exotic. And you know, there's this is how it is when there's nothing available, or if you want to just make something work on the cheap, this is the stuff you just got to do. And I've done plenty of stuff like this in the past, even on my car, which ended up being the show car, and won a lot of awards and stuff like that. Even won top engineered award at one main event show. So yeah, you know, this is the type of stuff you got to do, and that'll be bad ad. I'll keep going at that.